And Michael, this is a particularly important story because you've been tracking it for the last year or so. We know that essentially over a period of 10 years, money was poured into this project, but there's little to show for it at the moment.
Well, there's absolutely nothing to show for the money that, as we understand, went to this project as far back as 2005. And this is where it becomes confusing, some would say interesting, because if you look at a statement that came from the Public Protector's Office in the Free State today, and you contrast that with what the Secretary General of the ANC, Madikizela, says about this project, then you're left with more questions than answers. And I'd just like to invite the viewer to just listen in to what the ANC Secretary General had to say about this project last night.
I'm not personally ashamed because we had discussions from 2007 with the family here. So we can't want to discuss what government and the family has been discussing throughout 2007. And the family clearly knows, and we know, that there hasn't been any money or so, as people and media is saying, that that museum in Brandfort will definitely happen. And there's no government money which has been lost anyway. And the family is on board from 2007. So what the media is saying is something else which we don't know. And we are pleading with the media to give Comrade Winnie Madikizela Mandela a decent send-off and celebrate her life in a proper way, rather than come with negatives. Focus on what Comrade Winnie Mandela has done for this country, black and white.
Some seeming deflection there from Madikizela. Of course, the Free State Public Protector, Michael, is saying the allegations of these perceived allegations of corruption in relation to the project should be investigated by the NCOP and SCOPA.
Yeah, so there's upon the reflection of what the PP's office managed to confirm, it says in that 4-page statement that there are certain accepted facts. And I just want to run through those accepted facts, which are in stark contrast to what the ANC Secretary General said last night. One of those accepted facts, according to the Public Protector in the Free State, is that there is a large amount of money that goes towards this project. 3 million rand went to the Lejweleputswa District Municipality in 2008. Then in 2012, there is 117,543 rand that goes to certain architects and structural designers for the project. Then another accepted fact is that in the MEC, the Free State MEC's budget speech, that was in 2011, that this is where the Democratic Alliance picked up this issue of how much money had been budgeted for this based on the MEC's speech. 6 million rand is what was budgeted for this project. That was back in 2011. So if you bounce around these various dates, at least on the accepted facts according to the Public Protector, it is clear that government departments have admitted that money was spent. How the former Premier has no knowledge of this, because in a previous interview he also says that he was the MEC for sports back in 2007 and that money was budgeted. So he says, according to his knowledge, and he was running this province, no money was spent. So I think if you contrast those two together, then it paints a very different picture of this project.
We do hear him mention in that particular excerpt from your interview with him, however, that he does intend to get this project off the ground at some stage because the family is on board as well. I mean, but there's still no real clarity on why it hasn't happened in all the years that money was being pumped into it.
What's interesting to me, Joanne, is the fact that if Mama Winnie's family was on board with this, then I wouldn't have been asked over to Winnie Madikizela Mandela's home in Soweto last year. On 2 occasions I was called over to a home where the foundation asked how much money was budgeted for this. They don't know anything about this, and the fact that they were trying to get more information out of me about the renovation projects here. And they were particularly afraid that Mama Winnie's name was being used to be able to just loot funds through and drive it through government budget. But at the end of the day, as is the reality, there's nothing there. So that is also something that can be challenged, Joanne. But there's going to be a meeting today by various ANC branches here in the region. We're here at this Brandfort town hall today, and I think we're going to come back to you a little bit later to see if perhaps amongst the branches here and amongst the, I think it's the PEC that's meeting, there's going to be, or branch executives are going to be able to come back with some sort of a concrete plan that may be able to take this project forward.